We were talking a few moments ago to a former defence correspondent of great standing who was making the point that there is mutiny in the air in the Russian ranks and they may be running low on equipment.
Yeah, I've been picking up various comments about that too, ranging from officers, leaving their soldiers to look after themselves, to deeper things happening. I think the Russians definitely do buy stuff from China. One of the issues in terms of the logistics that people have quoted and talked about a lot in the last couple of weeks is that a lot of the tyres on the soft skin vehicles have been basically breaking up in the cold. They're old, they were cheap, very cheap. So there's a procurement process from Russia which does involve buying stuff from China. I would be very surprised if China was actually selling weapons as opposed to, those sorts of items, to be honest. Because I agree with what Steve Sang was just saying, who I know a little bit, that China is going to be tackling this very carefully. It really will not want to find itself in a position where the West starts laying sanctions against them.
Tim, just from a perspective of somebody who worked in logistics procurement, I mean, aside from the obvious horror, the human horror stories are emerging from Ukraine. I mean, you must approach this with a certain curious detachment, watching how people who don't plan well get unstuck.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's surprising that in a way that the Russians are running into the sort of trouble that they are. They're a very big army and they will have had a big procurement process and they'll have had lots of stocks of materiel in the round. And by material, I mean food, fuel, weapons, ammunition, and so on. So again, in a way, I find it difficult to understand or agree with that they might be turning to China for procurement. But procurement is a really difficult business. The British government are constantly criticised by the National Audit Office and others for our procurement of British defence systems, ranging from aeroplanes to tanks and to Ajax is the latest one, an armoured personnel vehicle. So procurement as a whole is a difficult issue to get right. And if you don't have a lot of in-place stocks, then when you start running into trouble, and if you're relying on a just-in-time type delivery system for your support chain, then of course you run into problems because building and delivering weapons, complex weapon systems, and by that I include, for example, guided weapons, air-launched and ground-launched guided weapons, which are expensive and take a long time to put together, then you can run into trouble pretty quickly. So if the Russians didn't have a lot of just-in-case type stocks, as opposed to relying on just-in-time delivery systems from their procurement processes, it's not surprising they're running into trouble.